All right, we are on lesson 1-7. We are in geometry. Today's date that everyone should be writing down is Monday, September 16th, 9/16. All right, quiet raise hand. What is our objective today? Gunner's already ready to go.
Find the angle measures between intersecting lines.
That's it. So 50 XP to Gunner. Thank you, Jessica. All right, so vertical angles. This is a review from, oh gosh, almost 10 days ago. It's been a while. If there are intersecting what, then the opposite angles are what? Quiet raise hand. Who can fill in both of those blanks? You cannot use the word equal to because I'm talking about geometry items. So if I'm ever talking about geometry, there's a specific word for that second blank that starts with a C that we all need to have memorized. Who can do this, Andres?
If there are intersecting lines,
It is indeed lines.
then the opposite angles are congruent.
There it is. Thank you, Andres, for reminding her. Yes, so we have these lines. They go on forever and ever. If these lines are intersecting, you can have line segments too. They don't have to be lines. But if they are intersecting, then we have vertical angles. So what I want to do is, can someone name two angles? And naming angles is kind of hard. Can anyone name two angles that are congruent? Quiet raise hand. Who can name two angles? There are 6 angles up here. Can anyone name two angles that are congruent? Jose.
So angle ACC and EZB are
There it is. Everyone mark it. Those two angles, AZC and DZB, are congruent. Fernando, do you have another one?
EZA and
BZB, FZB, this one? Okay. Yep, those two are also congruent. And finally, who can name the angles that are left over, Monse? E is FZC? This one, okay. So each of those 3 people got 50 XP. So Jessica, Jose, Fernando, and Monse got 50 XP. All right. But what this also means, if we're being, is there a? Do you have another angle? Okay. What this also means that might not be totally clear is that angle AZF, this angle right here, is congruent to EZB. You're just kind of ignoring this center line right here. This angle right here is the same as this angle right here. They are congruent angles, ignoring the lines. That means I can add vertical angles together, the yellow plus blue, yellow plus blue. Those two angles and those two angles must add up to the same number of degrees. We can all nod our heads. That makes sense. Okay, if there are questions, you can do the sign language letter Q. It's again pinching down with a closed fist. No questions? All right, we're moving on to a straight angle. This one's nice and easy. The measure of a straight angle is how many degrees? It looks like, I'm going to go with Josie. 180. Don't forget it. If you ever have a straight line, you might have 3 angles on that straight line. For example, AZE, EZD, and DZB. All of these angles together, there are 3 of them. Those 3 angles make a straight angle. All 3 of them must add up to 180 degrees. Be looking for those. Those will help you solve problems. Let's move on to example 1. This is a problem that you might see on Khan Academy. There are 4 types of problems. I gave you 3 of them. There's one on the back. So I need to find the measure of angle X. So how am I going to do that? I'll give you guys 20 seconds right now. Think about this quietly to yourself, and then we're going to discuss with the neighbor to see if you can find what X is. But just think about it for now. All right, Gunnar, tell me how to find X. Yeah, if you want, yeah. And I'm going to be asking for a second volunteer to solve it another way, a different way.
Okay. So 90 degrees right here.
Okay.
30 plus 60 is 90.
How do you know that's 60?
Because that's 90 and straight line. 30 plus 60 is 90.
Okay.
That makes it 180. So that makes it 60 degrees.
Very nice. All right, so let me make sure that I understand you correctly. So you start off with the fact that we have this angle at 90 degrees, and then you know that this angle right here must also be 90 degrees because of the straight line, and therefore 90 minus 30 is 60, and then you use, what's that theorem called to go across again? It's right up here. Oh, yeah, so use vertical angles to say x is 60. Yeah, very nice, thank you. All right, Jose, you're next. You can sit down. Thank you, Gunnar. You can do it on the second diagram. Yeah.
So I just added these two. 20. I subtracted it from.
Okay, so if I'm understanding you correctly, you added basically these three angles. You know that that one was 30, this one was 60. Sorry, not 60, 90. 30 plus 90 was 120, and then you know that this is a straight line, so they must add up to 180. Okay, yeah, that is definitely a different way of doing it. Thank you. And Jessica got both of their XP, right?
Yeah.
All right. Is there another way that someone found? Oh, question, yeah, Sergio.
The same way as like gunners, just like this, and then.
Oh, that's a different way. Yeah, can you show us what you did? You can go ahead and, yeah.
Then it's vertical angles and then 90, so 90.
Does everyone see it? Can you explain it one more time?
It's like vertical angles, right? And then this is 180, and then
Gunnar, Josie.
this is like 90 degrees. This also 90 degrees. It's a straight line, so.
Yeah, thank you. Are there any questions about Sergio's method? The main thing that I want you to take away from example 1 is there are many different ways to solve some of these problems. Your way might be different from someone else's. It doesn't mean that it's not correct. All right, so we're going to be going on to example number 2. Jose, can you? Ah, perfect, thank you. And Jessica, did you get Sergio's XP?
Yes.
Perfect. All right, so moving on to example number 2. We need to find the measure of x. Again, I'm going to let you have about 20 seconds to think of this by yourself. Is there a quiet raised hand that can tell me how to do example 2? You can come up to the board if you want. Andres?
You see, guys, it's quite simple. So, this right here is a straight line, 180 degrees. And then you would have to add up all of the angle measurements to add, so it can add up to 180. So 100 plus 30 is 130. We can all nod our heads. That's true.
Objection.
Minus HP. Oh, just kidding. Okay, and then once you do that, you would have to put the number that would add up to 180. So yeah, 50. And then once you add 50, it'll add up to 180 degrees. That simple. Or you can just look at it and just say 50 degrees.
Cool. Any questions? All right, I'm going to be showing a second way to do it all in one step. Well, I guess there's still simplification, but if I go ahead and kind of steal the beginning of Andres' method and I create an equation, I'm going to say that if I have 30 plus 100, and I'm going to add the x right now as well, so plus x, and I want everyone to be writing down this method. This is going to be equal to 180 degrees. This is a statement. By writing this down, you have said, if I add all three of these angles, if I add all three of these measures, I should get 180 degrees because it is a line. All in one statement, you have said the entire information that you need in order to solve this problem. And then from there, you can actually solve that equation by simplifying the left-hand side. This expression turns into 130, as Andre said, and then 130 plus x is my next line. So I say 130 plus x is equal to 180, and then from there, I'm going to subtract 130 on both sides to get x is equal to 50, which is the same answer that Andres got. So again, I simplified the left-hand side. Now I'm about to subtract 130 from both sides, minus 130, minus 130. And then from there, I'm going to get x by itself. X is equal to 50 degrees. If you do it Andres' method, you will get 100% on the test, on the quiz, on the homework. This is a more formal way of showing it, but it doesn't mean it's more correct or less correct than Andres' method. Are there questions? All right, let's try the hardest example on the back. I'll give you guys roughly a minute to solve example number 3. Good luck. We're back. Sergio, again, maybe? Is there anyone else? Julian? Oh, yeah, I saw his hand go up like this. Who wants to come up on the board that hasn't been up before? I think Gunner's been up, Sergio's been up. I want to try to get someone new. Someone that doesn't have their imaginary participation card up. Who wants to try this one up in front of the class? Please, please, who wants to do it? I'm going to cold call on someone that hasn't done it. Who has not come up in front of the class yet? You have. Fernando, have you come up in front of the class yet? All right, you're up. We'll help you through it. You got this.
Alright, so this is congruent.
They are congruent. Why?
Because they're vertical angles.
They are? Okay.
So this is, and then since this is vertical angles to 40.
All right, let's sit back and let everyone catch up.
Question. Okay. So, would x be 110? Like the measure of x, would it be 110 degrees?
Yeah.
Like you wouldn't have to do any math. You just look at it, say it's congruent.
So we have lines.
Yes, yes.
So if they're lines, then we have vertical angles. And he has all he's used so far is vertical angles. So far he's good. But x is not 110 because x is all of this measure. It's all of this. It's A, E, G.
Wait, so would you have to set up an equation?
There's no equation. I mean, you could set up an equation. This one doesn't qualify for an equation. All right, continue, Fernando.
Yeah. And then like if you add these two, it's gonna be it'd be 150. And then it's 30, so it's 30. And then they're vertical angles too, so 30 right here. And then 180 if you add all these.
So what is x?
X is 150.
How'd you get 150?
Because 110 plus 40, and it's still split in order.
Okay. Are there questions for Fernando?
I did not understand.
You have another one?
Okay, good job.
Let's wait and make sure that no one has questions first. Any questions for Fernando before he sits down? Questions, questions? All right, Sergio, you have a second way of doing it? Jessica, you got Fernando's XP? Thank you. All right, go for it.
So you got this too, 150, and then vertical.
One.
Whoa. Whoa. So cool.
That's another way of doing it, yeah. Thank you, Sergio. So Sergio had a little shortcut, which is basically to ignore this line CD. Ignore that line and know that this angle BEF is 150. That is vertical angle with X, which is 150. Yeah. Either way is perfectly fine, but X is indeed equal to 150 degrees. Make sure that you have that. Make sure even more so that you know how to get there. If you have a question, now is the time to throw up that sign language letter Q.
What?
That is not a gang sign. That is definitely sign language. You probably could, but don't. All right, that's it for the notes then. Khan Academy is up online. Do not do the summary right now. If I catch you doing that, I'm going to be sad because you're not falling down the rate of forgetting, which is what you need to be doing, so you can review tonight with your summary. All right, good luck on the homework.